Well, Romney is on a roll, and now he's on a rant targeting the National Labor Relations Board as an arm of the unions in this new South Carolina ad. Take a peek.
You're seeing a president adopt policies which affect our economy based not upon what's right for the American worker, but instead what's right for their politics. The National Labor Relations Board, now stacked with union stooges selected by the president, says to a free enterprise like Boeing, you can't build a factory in South Carolina because South Carolina is a right-to-work state. That is simply un-American. It's political payback of the worst kind. It is wrong for America, and it is something that will stop under my administration.
You know what's kind of cool about that? That was all extemporaneous. I remember those remarks. That was not a script, but that's neither here nor there. Obviously, the governor, former governor, is making unions a very big issue this election year, and the Competitive Enterprise Institute's Vincent Vernuccio says he should, and that it will resonate. You know, it is a way of deflecting if the economic numbers continue improving, though they're hardly robust. If that is something the administration will try to seize upon, deflect and go with the union thing, how do you think it will register?
I think it's going to register very well, especially in South Carolina. There is a nerve in the Republican base, and that's who Romney's trying to appeal to right now in the primary, that thinks the Obama administration, through his agencies and especially through the National Labor Relations Board, is simply giving payback to his political constituency, namely big labor. So Romney is tapping into that, and, you know, especially in South Carolina, it goes further than just the base. Workers felt like they were attacked by the administration by simply living in a right-to-work state. And by the way, remember, they were the ones that kicked out a union a couple of years ago.
Well, that is true. I forgot about that little detail. You know, one thing, too, Vincent, I was wondering about, maybe you could help me with this. You mentioned it's popular in South Carolina, a right-to-work state. It could help Governor Romney in that state. But I'm wondering how national an issue this is. I talk to a lot of people who do respond to this. I was mentioning to a guest earlier on Fox News the popularity of Chris Christie, for example, in New Jersey among union households. And I was scratching my head when I read this survey, and I said, well, that doesn't make sense. But if Governor Christie is popular with union households, maybe something bigger is going on here. What do you make of this?
I think you have to really look at the dichotomy between union members and union bosses. Remember, union household, that's not the bosses. Those aren't the cronies of Obama. Those aren't the most frequent visitors to the White House. These are salt-of-the-earth, rank-and-file workers. And these are the types of people that Mitt Romney is also trying to appeal to. Remember, one of the best lines in that video is when he's talking about workers. He's trying to be pro-worker. He's not saying he's anti-union. He's not saying he's pro-business. He's saying he's pro-worker. And that's who he's trying to tap into. And it's a great talking point, and it's a great message, and it's a good theme that the rest of the Republican candidates should pick up and hopefully take throughout the rest of the election.
Do you think it risks, though, alienating average blue-collar workers who you hope to win over the general election? And by that I mean whatever the validity of going after illegal immigration in this country, we do know as a certain tangential fact from that the Republican Party lost support among Latinos. Now, these are legally here Latinos, so they obviously took offense to that approach, that hardline approach on immigration, even though Republicans said, no, on illegal immigration, but it cost them within the Hispanic community. Does this type of approach risk alienating an even wider base for Republicans?
You know, not at all. Once again, you know, what they're trying to do is create a separation between the workers and the bosses. And it's the bosses who are making six-figure salaries.
Oh, no, you're right, but it's a delicate dance, right? Because the bosses come back and say, oh, look at Mr. Anti-Working Man. You know what they did to Chris Christie?
Right, and you know, they're going to try that, and the important thing is to just get the facts out. You know, Congressman Tim Walberg had a great quote. He's a congressman from Michigan, and when this entire thing with Boeing came down, he said that, hey, this hurts Michigan more than it hurts South Carolina. Why? Because as a forced unionism state, companies are going to look at Michigan and say, wow, you're going to be like the Hotel California. We can check in, but we can check out, but we can never leave. So it's,
right.
you know, those type of sound bites just saying, hey, wait a minute, you know, this is even hurting unionized workers. And the only reason the Obama administration is doing it is to placate the bosses who are getting forced to use money from these workers, who probably, survey after survey show, they don't agree 100% with what the bosses are doing.
Vincent, well put. Well put. Thank you. Good seeing you again.
Neil, thanks for having me on.